We're live. Hello, Edward. Hello, everyone.
Hey, Rami.
Our founder and potential future leader is not with us yet. No one else is with us yet. We're going to go ahead and get started and do some things. We could work on the Constitution, like you said. At the same time, this is like together, I guess. We can work on making that poll question so that it includes the stuff from the Constitution.
Yeah. Second here.
Oh, we lost Edward.
Sorry about that, Rami. I hit the wrong link.
And then you made it so that more of my camera was showing.
Oh no, sorry. Anyway, as I was saying,
and my bed over there is undone and it looks horrible. It's hidden right now, but you made it show.
Sorry about that.
You.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, as I was saying, we've only had 16 views on that poll. We've got 142 members in the subreddit. And I don't know how many of those 16 views are double ups or triple ups of trying to figure this out. I think I'm going to go ahead and pull that poll.
Just because we post something in the subreddit doesn't mean all the people see it. At most, 10% of the people see it.
Yeah. We've got to find a way to get this out to the people that are seeing it. And one thing that would really help on that is having people join up in the membership and being able to send them, hey, there's a poll up, via email,
By the way, to be clear, just being in the subreddit doesn't mean like you've joined KAOS or anything.
Yeah, I know.
You need to be in these calls.
Yeah.
And they need to be in the email thing. Yeah, the subreddit's more like anyone who's remotely interested is there. Remotely interested. And they might leave in a week or whatever. Actually, I haven't seen our numbers go down at all. It only goes up. Although Reddit doesn't tell you when people leave, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna pull up our document where I'm documenting stuff about the website, just to have notes, just to put some notes for the poll question. And I guess let me put it on the screen. Adjust the size. So the poll question should be something really simple. Should we have a leader, director for small decisions? Or even shorter. And then within the question, we're saying something like the context is short terms or elected. Short terms, we thought 3 months.
Okay.
And only for small decisions, and then more than that now of course we have to have like a way of deciding what's small or not,
right?
And I wrote something I like to put in here. I guess we could say here, following our Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
And in the Constitution, it would say these things.
Right. And one of the things that I really want to push on is that the objective, for this to really be democratic, if you will, as I'm seeing it, it's got to stay nonprofit. That's one of the things I was looking on putting in the Constitution. This is going to stay a nonprofit.
That is my thinking. The way Brian sees it is that it is for profit, and that the only way we're going to get profit, if we ever get any profit, is through the collective bargaining aspect, which is far in the future, which in effect is like saying we're nonprofit for now.
Right.
And actually, I think it's still a nonprofit because, wait, how am I thinking of this? What do they count as a profit? That there are owners who receive a profit.
Yeah, the owner gets the owner and the board get a profit.
Owner and the board. But that's not how we're seeing it. We're seeing it as everyone involved might get a profit, but that's different than a for-profit entity. Like this is almost like a new thing that's never been done.
Right. It's kind of a combination.
It's a little bit like for-profit. Go ahead. What were you saying?
It's also a nonprofit. It's a combination of the two.
Yeah, and if anything, I think it's more like the nonprofit because the owners, if we say right now the owner is Brian, he's not the one getting the profit. And it's not even the directors, like if we say the contributors, you and I and the rest of us, it's not us either. It's the users. But that's not really what a for-profit entity is.
No, for-profit is for the creators and the board to make money off, and shareholders and things like that. I mean, the primary purpose is to make the big money. This is to allow people to have
a lawyer to tell us which one it is.
I agree. I think we really need to focus on getting some kind of a lawyer in on this.
And we are working on that. It's one of the things where I have in my list of people we need is international lawyer.
Yeah, I mean, it's really a hell of a note, put it bluntly, because there's a lot of legal standings here we've got to look at. I don't want us, getting shut down for breaking the law or something,
Yeah, I don't think we would in that sense. I think we worry more about, at least for now, the image that either label gives us to the outside world. If we call it for profit, that'll have a certain image in people's mind. If we call ourselves nonprofit, a different image. Yeah, I don't know.
That's something we need to, like I said, that's something we really need to get a lawyer involved in this. We need to find one.
So in a sense, we're waiting until we get that fucking lawyer.
We're pretty much at a standstill. I mean, we can do what we can, but but for the most part, yeah, until we get a legal backing, as to which way we got to go, we're kind of stuck in a rut.
No, we're not stuck. We're still working on shit like this.
Oh yeah, I'm just talking.
Now, once we finish all this shit, and if we still don't have the lawyer and the programmer and the marketing guy and all that, yeah, then we're stuck.
Yeah. So I mean, we can still put this together and that, but we got to have a lawyer go over our Constitution, go over how we run it and that, so you can sit there and say, okay, this is what you're looking at, and this is what kind of business model you need to follow, whether it's profit or not profit. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. All right. So, and by the way, while we're writing the Constitution, I don't have a problem just writing it so it's clear to us. It doesn't have to sound nice. Even shit like this, This is very You know, I only need one word here to get people to know what
Yeah.
I mean. Oh, elected by who? Elected by
We
KAOS
need to
contributors.
contributors or registered members.
That's what the
Because
contributors are, right?
yeah. Short terms. You think 3 months is really? I have a feeling 3 months is too short.
Oh, interesting. I don't know.
Because I mean, if we go on 3 months, we could have someone who's rocking this system and they get voted out because someone gets a burr up their butt. You know?
Oh, vote. I guess we're saying elected at what? Whoever got the most votes, I guess.
Yeah.
Which theoretically could be a very small number. Like if there's 10 voters and 9 nominees,
Yeah,
and
that's gonna.
one got 1, but the 9th one got 2.
Mm-hmm.
So that the guy who got 2 wins, but he only had 18% of the vote.
Mm-hmm.
You get it?
Yeah,
And
I
who
get
gets
it.
nominated? You can nominate yourself.
I think we need to, nominate yourself, but you can also nominate somebody else because you like what they have to offer.
But that guy might say, "Fuck no, I don't want it." So what would be the point of a nomination from someone else?
Right. But then
Like
of
if you
course
guys nominated me, I'm gonna say no.
right. But then of course we also run in the situation with the self-nominated. Everybody's sitting there nominating themselves, voting for themselves, and we're not getting anywhere.
You mean if we have 10 people and 10 self-nominations and each person votes himself? You know, if that happened, I think we should dissolve this whole thing.
Yeah.
Because that's like saying every one of us do not want to work with the others.
Right.
So that's not even a team. And
right.
if
we
that happened, let's put a proviso. If each person gets only 1 vote, then dissolve this whole fucking thing.
Do we want to dissolve the whole thing, or do we want to have whoever's in the position to continue on trying to get it to work?
Well, we don't have that guy right now.
Yeah.
So, like, if we fail to, like, if we want Brian and he fails to get more than his own vote, then I say we're done.
Right. I agree with that.
I wonder if this is really needed, though. Because imagine we have good votes early on, but let's say a year from now we vote again, and it becomes that way of each person got 1 vote, or it's equal to all the others. See, even 1 doesn't make sense. It has to be. I don't know. This kind of doesn't need to be there. And
Brian put a email out.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Nope, he doesn't have the right link. So let me give him the link.
Okay.
All right, I just emailed him.
Okay. Yeah, we're online. Where you at, Brian? Yeah, I'm really wondering if a 3-month term is really long enough.
So Brian just emailed everyone saying, I don't know what happened to Rami. So he's kind of assuming we didn't have this meeting. I know it's working because you showed up.
Yeah. Well, I was the first one here, but yeah, it's working.
That's something we should do next time. If we don't see Brian right away, I should email him.
Yeah. He has a tendency of clicking on the wrong links. Okay. Dun, dun, dun. I think what happened is he got his links confused because you just sent out the one for next week
Oh fuck!
before
I
we
shouldn't
went
have done
live.
that. Should have waited a little bit.
Yeah. Now, if only we had a live message straight to him somehow, a messenger or something.
That's why I took down his phone number. We do phone calls sometimes, me and him.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes they're long phone calls. He likes to talk.
Yeah, I noticed that.
He likes to talk.
He gets going and he keeps going. He's like the Energizer Bunny. But yeah, I'm really curious how that 3-month short-term idea will work, because I don't think that'll really give enough time to keep things running. I think 6 months would be a good minimal. But 3 months, I mean, basically that's what, 1, 2, 4, that's 12 meetings.
That's a lot. 12 meetings.
Yeah, but does the person actually have enough time to get up to speed to get things progressing forward still?
Oh, up to speed. Yeah, I was thinking Brian, who already knows everything. If it's a new person, I don't know how the new person would have been nominated though.
Well,
They
that's
weren't up to
still
speed
something
already.
that's something we still got to hash out.
Well, what I mean is, if we picked someone as the leader, I think we would have picked him because he's already up to speed.
Yeah.
So
I
I
mean,
don't
like
think there's an up to speed issue.
like currently it'd be like 4 of us right now.
Yeah. A bunch of us are up to speed. Yeah, we're all. I still don't think we could do what Brian is doing, but we're up to speed.
Yeah. We're up to speed, but yeah, we couldn't do it as good as Brian can.
No, I think the whole thing would flunk. Fail.
I'd keep trying. I think it's a
these
good
little.
process.
I hate these little copy paste situations where you get different fucking formatting, and even though I did this to delete the formatting, it still did this dumb shit.
Oh, made it smaller print.
Oh, 15. Damn, why the hell is this 15? How did I do that?
I don't know.
And Brian's still not here. I don't get it.
Maybe he didn't get his email.
I should text him too then. Let me just call him.
Okay. I sent him a reply back saying we're live right now, so.
These are the growing pains we should be expecting.
Yes. And now that's part of it. I mean, we're still in the infantile stage here, really.
What's up, Brian? Yeah. We're on. We've been on. I emailed you back with the correct link. Somehow you clicked on the wrong link. So, yeah, come on in. That's for next week. Yeah, you can tell by the date in the subject line. Okay, we'll see you in a second. All right, bye. Yep, you're right. He clicked on next week's link.
Yeah.
But that's confusing, the way I did that.
Well, yeah, I was already in here when you threw it up. I'm like, huh? It's like, now I looked and it's like, oh, that's for next week.
Oh, so that's why you didn't fuck up. You're saying you could have fucked up.
I've also got my email set up where it's like the meeting notifications go into a KAOS website or go into a KAOS folder. So they go in there, so they're in numerical order. one of the nice things about using my email client. Should be able to do that on any email client, even web-based.
I got
Yeah,
my big event Saturday, 6 days from now.
Oh yeah, I saw that the cross.
14th.
Yeah.
What do you think? You want to get rid of the death penalty for changing your mind about God?
Hell yeah.
All right, come join us the 14th.
All right, I'll try to get in there. Send me a link to it.
All right.
If you can. I'll try to get in there though. I mean, I'm not hugely I'm not atheist, but I'm not Trisha, I'm agnostic. You know, there's a higher power, but I'm not saying there's one or many.
Well, my organization doesn't say you have to be atheist, so
yeah,
I just happen to be one. I don't
Yeah.
think it's relevant. By the way, if I become agnostic or join Christianity, the organization should still operate the same way,
right?
You know, because it's not about a religion and it's not about non-religion. It's just about don't kill us for changing religion.
Right.
All right, what was I doing? I got a link. Oh yeah, I'm gonna email you now.
Yeah, see, I was looking at an appeals process to set up. And then of course the appeals will go through a vote throughout the group to get everybody's thoughts on it. I mean, it's obvious our registered members or contributors are going to have a little more sway on elections and what's going on with the system and that. So they're going to be a little more.
I think those are the only people that should be voting anyway.
Mm-hmm.
If you're just on the subreddit, I don't think your votes mean anything. Who are you? You're just somebody that happened to see us. Maybe you hate our whole project and you're voting.
Right.
Yeah, I think you should be a registered member.
I agree. And that's why I'm setting that up. I'm trying to figure out what's going on with that Joomla front page. Why I've been working on it when I can here, trying to figure out why that's going to the login instead of the registration page. I've got to look, see, I may be missing a module for some reason.
Growing pains.
Yep. Well, and then they've changed the way the software is laid out and that on the back end. So it's not as easy for me right now because I'm used to an older style layout, and they've gone more into the layout like it is now. Before it used to be links.
He's still not here. I don't know.
There
he is. Brian.
Yeah, Brian. Sorry about that, guys. I just not.
I kind of figured. Yeah, I kind of figured that's what happened. You clicked on the wrong link.
Yeah.
You clicked on the link from the email I sent out before we went live.
Yeah. Well, it was the latest link, and so yeah, and you know, I've seen where Rami has sent the new link sometimes just before the meeting. Just as a reminder or whatever. Anyway, sorry about that, guys. I'll try to be.
So next time, I'll try to remember to wait to send the new link until this one starts.
Yeah, that'll be helpful for idiots like me.
You're not an idiot. After all, this is your thought process that we're working on.
Yeah, well, well, it makes me question what I'm doing. All right, but all right. So just the three of us here. Yeah. Okay.
Who knows? Maybe I confused other people with the same thing. Maybe Ernst is on the new link also.
Yeah, maybe. I just noticed when I clicked on my email just before this, well, I can check it now. I keep losing you guys. Yeah, I think sent me an email here. Here. Oh no, okay, no, somebody else. Sorry. No, that's somebody else. It's I'm gonna be doing a podcast here in another, I don't know, it'll be or something, but somebody else is setting up a podcast. That's
So
who the
yeah,
email was.
Brian, I want to remind you, if you do a podcast with someone,
Yeah.
ask them if they'd be willing to provide that video, and then I want to publish it on the KAOS
Yeah, sure.
channel.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we can do that. This is a guy that I did a video with. This is a guy I did a podcast with probably almost 2 years ago. And so we're going to do a bit of an update here and how things are going.
Sweet.
Yeah. His name's Christian Reeves. And he's been podcasting ever since. I was one of his first guests, I think, a couple of years ago. So I'm not sure how things are going for him. We'll have to find out. But anyway, we'll be doing that.
So what Edward and I started working on is the poll question.
Yeah.
And I think it should just be a really simple question. Should we have a leader or director?
Yeah.
And then with context that we're going to have a constitution. I think we should already have the constitution spelled out, at least in some, even if it's not fully finished or whatever, even if it's ugly.
Yeah.
And it would say these kind of things. It's an election. Who's doing the voting? Who's nominating? How long the term is, and then like how we decide which decisions the leader makes versus the whole group, and how we have to make that determination and how we can change that determination after the fact with like a process.
Yeah. Okay. That all makes sense. So are we going to do a second poll then, or what's?
I think I am. I think I am. We've only had 16 views on our poll, and that's been mostly us.
Yeah.
I think between you, me, and Rami, and whoever else might have looked at it. As far as I can tell, we haven't had any replies to it yet.
Yeah.
I
think we should delete the poll question we already have because there's not enough information in there.
Okay.
Because Edward, I think the way you were seeing it is that everyone who would be doing the poll already knows all of the context, and I don't think that's the case. Especially for if somebody joins tomorrow and sees that poll question, you know, we need to have a historical thing there where all the relevant history is inside of it.
Right.
So that's all this stuff.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and delete it right now.
Okay.
And go in there. Oh, I got to go in my admin.
So what happens if we don't get any participation? What are we going to do with that?
If we don't get any participation, we're going to have a hard time getting this to go forward.
Participation with what?
With the poll. I mean, so far we put up this poll, we put out a notice to everybody, and it's only like the three of us that have paid it any attention.
Yeah, but if anyone read what we were saying, then they wouldn't have. They would recognize that we didn't really start the poll because we all said it's wrong. So I could imagine that's why nobody answered the poll.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's probably more going on than that. I mean, it's, you know, people are a lot of talk at certain areas. You know, you can get people, it's hard to get real participation in any of this kind of stuff. And, you know, people will talk about participating and then never do. Like I'm surprised not even Ernst hasn't even voiced his opinion on this poll, which I thought for sure he would, since he's kind of in opposition to a lot of what I'm saying anyway.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's, I think we just have to move ahead and, you know, I don't know what unless we wait until we get to a certain recruitment level. But even then, I mean, how do we know if people are going to participate, right?
Right.
I don't know. Yeah.
Right now, I think what we need to do is we need to direct people to the website rather than the subreddit, because that's where a lot of our information is going to be at. I'm going to be setting up video or links to go to our YouTube channel so they can see our videos that we're doing.
Yeah.
You know, they can see the transparency of everything. And if we can do that, start directing to the website instead of to the subreddit, I think we might be able to capture a little more interest in it.
Yeah. I don't know. It's in some ways, websites are getting to be kind of old news. I don't know if they're still the thriving thing that they used to be.
Not as much as social media is.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but I'm not sure. I'm doing all the recruiting on Reddit. So so far I'm the only one bringing people in, and they're coming in on Reddit. And
I'm hitting up on Blue Sky.
Okay. So it just seemed for me to try to direct people to the website, like I got to get them off of Reddit and go over to the website, whereas it's just a quick click away to go check out a different sub.
I don't think the website is ready to really show it to anyone.
Yeah.
I
mean, we still gotta get all our stuff, all our ducks in a row. To make sure that we've got it so that when we go completely in action, we've got all the things in place. And then, that's what I was meaning by saying I think we're putting the cart before the horse and trying to progress forward. I honestly think we're trying to do too much, trying to rush it too fast. And we don't have all the pieces on the board.
Yeah. So where should we be concentrating right now?
Right now, where I think we need to concentrate is getting the process set up so we can bring people to the website, get people coming to the website organically, and
how do you envision
there? And that means
how do you envision this process?
What I'm envisioning really is what we need to do at the moment. We need to focus on the Constitution, get that in place, get our terms in place, and then start directing people to the website. We get our website fine-tuned for desired way we want it to run. And then it's just start bringing people to the website when we're promoting this. And we'll have the information there. They can do it. They can decide with all the information. I think we're going to have more information available on the website, along with having the links to the videos and everything. I really think that's going to be key. Is we got to get the website together and start promoting it.
Okay. So what the Constitution is that? I know that you were working on it. Is there something we can view?
No, I've got a rough thing. Give me a second. Let me pull it down from my next cloud.
One thing about the website is I think we need to display a nice video, the best video we have, even if it's just a clip of an existing video like a podcast. And if we don't have anything like that, we need to make a video. And let's say it's just Brian talking, or let's say it's me and Brian talking. And we're explaining what KAOS is. And I mean something short, like 15 minutes max, maybe 5 minutes.
Right.
Boy, that's
probably
once again. As soon as you suggest these things, I run into the same issue of trying to get the whole idea into 15 minutes. All right. Well, we can't.
Let me rephrase then. We won't put a time limit on ourselves, and we're just explaining the concept. However long that is, that's what we put up.
Well, but we need to figure out, what is just enough information, that gives people a good enough idea. Every time I try to do a short version, everybody complains that I'm not understanding it. And then when I do a long version, everybody complains it's too long. That's the feedback I get.
Anyways, right? I get what you mean. I wonder if those are two separate projects, though.
Yeah.
Why we need KAOS as the first project, and then the second project is here's the fucking details.
Yeah.
You know, and I think what people are doing is when they see the first project of why we need chaos, they're saying there's not enough details. And then when they see the second project of all the details, they're like, that's too many details. What's the general concept?
Yeah.
Right.
And that's where I get stuck, though. There's just no way to put a shorter system.
Yeah, but if you have two separate videos, you're making it clear that if you're watching the second video and you haven't seen the first one, stop this, go watch the first one, you idiot.
Yeah, yeah.
And if they watch the first one and they're left with, where's the fucking details? Well, the end of the video says, here's the fucking details, go watch the next video.
Yeah.
Right.
To me, that's a lot like what I've already got with the 2 essays, right?
Yeah. And I'm saying, let's convert that to video. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good thing. I'm one of those ones when it comes to like the printed word. You miss out on inflections, on the feeling of importance on how this works, because that tone of voice you use, the way you present it, you're presenting it exactly how you see it instead of hoping they get the gist of it from what you're typing out. Does that make sense? I mean, using your inflection of voice in that.
Yeah. I mean, I work better by video and audio than I do by the written word. I always have. So I very much fit in that category. Yeah. I'd much rather watch a video or hear an audio rather than read something. So, you guys are right. Yeah. I think that's, we do need to do something along that line.
Right.
Yeah. Now, we'll see how this what do you call it, podcast I'll be doing. I mean, that's kind of what I'm going to be doing in the podcast here pretty soon. Well, like I said, it probably, I think we got scheduled for mid-July or something. So it's going to be a little while yet.
Okay.
Yeah, and. Yeah, I've done a couple of podcasts, but they're all just very, they're kind of scattered. They wouldn't be good for this. Or we do a dedicated podcast or a dedicated recording, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's one of those things, I mean, we've got to figure out a way to get the word out. And, if you're more comfortable doing videos, definitely let's do a video thing.
I'm not saying I'm comfortable doing it. I'm comfortable watching them. We'll see how we do it. I think I'm getting better. There's no doubt that I think I'm getting better at it. It definitely makes me a little bit nervous, but this has been the thing I've been practicing since the beginning. Really, I've looked at every opportunity I can to talk about it on podcasts or just to people, and it's always been like a practice for this, So I think I'm getting better.
Yeah, it's not something that you can just jump in and say, "Okay, we're ready." We really need to have everything ready. I mean, we got to show them, hey, this is how we're looking. We want to look professional on it. Obviously, they're gonna believe in it a little bit more if it's more professional looking and approached on a more professional aspect than they are. Here's our, and pardon me for saying that, here's our ragtag group trying to pull people in. If we can get the word out, whether it's through TikTok or any other social media, get the word out, get people interested in it. It'll start becoming organically grown.
Edward, you're cutting in and out a lot. Is that happening for you, Rami? Is he coming in?
I don't hear that. No,
it's just me then. Okay.
Sorry, what did you miss, Brian?
I didn't really miss anything. I'm getting I'm getting enough to understand what you're saying, but
okay.
There's like a click every second.
And for me, Brian, I'm not hearing you very well. Can you be louder somehow?
Can I be louder? Well, I can turn up my voice. I'm a pretty loud guy as it is usually. I could try another headset here. It might help. might be the headset.
Because I hear Edward pretty well, but not Brian.
Okay, 1 second.
Yeah, I noticed he was a little quiet myself, but oh yeah,
So
that's
anyways,
definitely louder.
One option for a video for the website is to make a clip out of the podcast, our first published podcast on my channel, which we titled "Presenting Chaos: A Database of Public Opinion Without Control."
You think it turned out well enough to do that?
Well, I don't think we should put up the whole thing. I think we can find a good clip out of it, but I don't know. I haven't went and watched it to see. Brian, what do you think? You want to watch that and see if there's any good spot that we could cut out and put on the website?
You've got. Did you post it on the KAOS sub at all, or where would I find it?
I could send it to you.
Or you've got it on the Uniting the Cults subreddit, right?
I don't think so, because that was published before that subreddit was made.
Okay. Well, yeah, you'd have to send me a link. You'd have to send me a link. Am I coming in any louder now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Question is, am I still breaking up on you?
No, actually, you're sounding pretty good right now.
Maybe it was the headset.
Yeah. I don't think it usually does that kind of thing, but anyway, if it's better, it's better. We'll move ahead.
There you go. There you go.
So, I could have a look at it, see if there's anything there. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, you could maybe judge it too there, Rami, and see if there's anything there.
All right, sending it to you now. And what we're looking for is one clip that would be perfect, rather than 5 different sections that we have to smash together.
Yes. Yeah, we'll have a look and see how that.
And if we don't find something like that, then we got to start thinking about making a video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, and now, where did we leave off with the Constitution? Did you say that you're?
My server shut down. We had a power outage the other day, and I didn't realize it shut down. I've got to go back and reboot it so I can pull it up.
Well, maybe email it out, and we can have a look at it that way. And,
okay.
See if
I'll get the server booted up and I'll get it mailed out. And we can touch on that next week if you want. Yeah. And maybe I'll mail it out to everybody on the mailing list. That way we can get the input of everybody on the mailing list and see if we can get something working.
Okay. And where are we with the? I don't know if I brought it up just a minute ago, but I'm not quite sure where we're at with the. So the poll, we're gonna redo the poll, right?
Yeah, I've already deleted the current one. I've shut it down, deleted it, and
we have a new wording for it now. We know exactly what we're doing.
Yeah, we're gonna go with should we have a leader or director, and then have the context underneath it and go from there.
And then there would be a link to the Constitution.
Yeah. Okay. So we can't really post it up until the Constitution's done then.
Right. And I'll get that out. We can conglomerate on that. I'm still trying to get everything set up perfectly on the Nextcloud account I've set up for us. It's giving me a hell of a fight right now. So that I can get you guys into it so we can have the easy sharing that. I've got to figure out what I got to do in that. I don't know if I've got to set up a user account and password and send it to you guys like I have been or what yet. I'm looking deeper into that. So,
by the way, one thing that's still hazy for me is regarding what decisions the leader can make or whatever without the team voting.
Yeah, well, I don't know how we can predetermine what's going to come.
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
Which is, we have a process for determining or making a change to an existing determination with like an appeals process. But what's the initial set? I mean, we could always choose an initial set of things like, and Brian, you already gave 2 small examples. We have to buy examples. We have to buy a stapler.
I think the small stuff like that is
the leader gets to make that decision without a vote. And then another one was,
I don't remember.
What's the way to word it?
pens or something like that. I believe it
No,
was. You know,
it's regarding the meetings.
Whether or not we're getting off topic and get everyone.
Yeah. How you say
Yeah.
that?
direct the meetings.
Yeah.
Keep the meetings on topic.
Moderating the meetings.
There we go.
Seems to be the term everybody uses on Reddit anyway. Moderating.
Yeah. They're also going to have to dedicate someone under them to, you know, moderate the website.
Well, we've already made that decision with you, I think.
Yeah. But I'm not going to be here forever.
Yeah. Well, things will change.
But
So when it comes to deciding about, future, I think as far as deciding whether or not a decision that needs to go to the group or not, and how big of a decision thing it is, I think we have to rely on the leader to make that decision. And our recourse is that we're going to decide who the leader is every 3 months. So if we don't think a leader is making the right decisions, or there's also we can recall the leader. What do you call it? Where you non-confidence vote.
Yeah, no confidence vote.
Yeah. So at any point, if we think the leader is making bad decisions, we can do a non-confidence vote and have him replaced. And then every 3 months, it's a review on how he's done. So I think we just leave it up to the leader to decide if the decision should have to be amongst the group or not. And if I'm chosen, I'm going to generally if I think that if there's much weight to a decision at all, I'm going to try to get the group to do it, because I want to know that the group is behind me the whole time, and that I'm not veering off. And if I get any hint that everybody is not happy with or is questioning the direction we're going, I'm going to try to bring it up with the group and make it a group decision. That's the way I would look at it if I was leading. And like I said, we have recourse to change the leadership. So if we're not happy with the way they're doing it,
and we have recourse on any small decision a leader makes too, with an appeal process that any team member can initiate.
Yeah, I mean, it's any decision really, no matter how big it is. If you think it's a problem that it's worth reviewing the leadership, then we do. It doesn't matter how big or small the decision was at the time, right?
What I'm thinking, based on what you were saying, what I'm thinking is the leader gets a 6-month run, but at 3 months we can review the process, have everyone review the process and determine, do we need a no confidence vote, or can we let this go on for the next 3 months and then have the major election every 6 months?
How's that different than a new election every 3 months? Or let me say it this way. How is it different than in the first month, we all think the leader sucks and we do an early election?
We still have to give the person a chance. I mean, like I said before, there's going to be some episodes where the person needs to get brought up to speed on the inside workings of it. I mean, right now we've got our core group. We've got an idea of what the central process is. But someone coming in new that hasn't been involved in the core process, they're going to need to be brought up on speed. And, that's going to take a little bit of time.
And then it's a participation thing again too. You know, if
Yes.
we're not getting a lot of participation, then it is really worth doing it every 3 months. You know,
Right.
you know, it's already going to be an issue just because we don't have enough people in here to really get a good feel of anything. You know, so you know, it's kind of like you were saying, cart before the horse. You know, we need a bunch of people in here before we can get any real grasp of
Right.
How people feel about things, right? So
Right. We've got to have the base before we can have the people available for elections and that.
Yeah, and you know, just whether or not we want a leader, I think every time we do a review of the leader, we can also do a review of whether or not we want a leader in general. Right?
We can do that too.
Yeah,
we can do that too. I mean,
but
eventually, what I'm seeing is eventually this is going to blossom out enough where it's going to be self-maintained. The only position the director or leader would be implementing what the votes are saying they want done. That's how I was looking. That's how I was looking at it. You know, their job is to implement what was voted on. Yeah, that's how I was looking at it.
Yeah, and but once again, it's going to be hard to do if we're not getting any real participation. So
Right.
There's going to be at the beginning. There's going to be a lot of guesswork, I think.
And that's where we're at right now.
And that's where we're at right now. Yes. And we just need to do it and move ahead.
A little bit off topic, back to an old topic. Edward, you were wondering why we only got 16 views on the poll. We only put that on the subreddit, right? You didn't email everyone.
No, I did not.
Yeah,
I put it on the subreddit.
If you want
so when I put up this new poll,
if you want registered members to get on the poll, we have to email them, not expect them to see it on the subreddit.
Yeah. So we can do that when we get this new poll up.
Yeah.
And then we can get things started.
And again, I don't even think we should put it on Reddit, because who would we be inviting? If you're not a registered member, you shouldn't be voting.
Right.
So I don't even see a point of putting it on the Reddit.
No, doesn't hurt, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, Reddit's a good starting point to get people to the website. It's social media. It'll give them somewhere to go. You know, that's the aspect.
I mean, I wouldn't mind putting it on Reddit just to show people what we're doing.
That's what I was going to say. Transparency would be.
But it's not so that we could get them to vote. That should be by email.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, to our core group right now.
The core group.
Okay.
And of course, we still have to do this basic thing of people actually need to be registered on the website. So far, isn't it just me? Or me and you, the admin?
It's Brian and Brian.
I registered. So if they're going to register on the website anyway, you know, I mean, maybe they do that because they want to get on the email list as well, you know. So
yeah,
and maybe those should be the same thing. If you register on the website, you're automatically getting all the emails.
Yeah. By
default, we should. I don't think we should have 2 levels. And then if you don't like the emails, well, unregister yourself.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right about that.
Okay, Rami, I'm not seeing you in the member list on the website, on the forum.
Well, I know I'm in there because I was able to edit the article.
Oh, that's the primary website. The forum is a separate. If you click on that link on the main website where it says forums, it'll take you to the forums where you need to register an account.
So 2 separate registrations.
Well,
I haven't gotten them linked yet.
Oh, you're going to link them. Okay.
I'm going to link it so the one registers you in both. I just haven't gotten the link done yet.
Okay.
I'm still looking in on how to proffer that. And hopefully that'll absolve us with our registration issue you're running into on the main website too, because it'll use the forums registration process.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, and actually the website right now, I don't know if that's what you just said. I wasn't. You can't even register.
Yeah. And that's yeah, and I'm looking into that. I'm trying to figure out what's going on with that. So I think I'm going to set the registration up just to link it straight to the forums, because that's where all the information that's really going to be, all the action, and that's really going to be in the forums. The main landing page, that's where we'll have the blog posts that people put up. I'm going to have little here's the latest news from the forum on the front page, so they have a link they can click on to go to it. If they're registered, they're already in. If they're not registered, they don't have to. I'm allowing guest posting, so they don't have to.
Yeah,
So
that's fine.
Those are the things I'm looking at, trying to facilitate.
Hey, Edward, I don't think, since we don't have our unified documentation stuff yet, I'm going to share this. I'm going to share this document with you just so you have access to it, when you can pull up, this stuff.
Okay.
Share. Yeah, you're not here yet. I got to find your email. This is what sucks about not having a shared system.
Mm-hmm. Well, weren't you using Google Documents?
That's what this is. Yeah.
You should have me. You shared Google Documents with me before, but
yeah, it starts with a P, right?
Yeah, Papa Shrek.
There
I am. You just haven't put my name at it yet. It's just still Papa Shrek.
Yeah, and I don't even want to do all that in Google Documents, because
Right.
that's even separate from my
from
my email. Like my shit's not organized like that, and it needs to be. But that's why you're here.
It's chaotic. It's chaos. All in, come from chaos comes order. All right, I got the link. Let's see here. So I could really use some input on ideas as to, in the forum itself, dealing with the subcategories. I've got some in place, but I don't know how far down you want these to go. Do we want to get it down to where it's like specifics, say they have information dealing with the car. Do we want to take it down to, it's got to be a Ford, a Chevy, a Dodge, you see what I'm saying?
I think the way that should work is you start with one category and it says everything. Then as we have too much shit going on in that one category, then we start
break
making
up
more
the categories, do the subcategories.
So the initial category is everything.
Okay. That's how I've got it set up right now. Right now, it's a complete free-for-all in there.
I wonder, does the system allow you to, after a post was made in a category, and then later we decide to add categories, can you reassign the category of a post?
Yes.
Okay. So we
I
can
do
do
that from the backside.
Well afterwards.
Yes. Yeah, because I can move the posts over to a different category and it'll still follow the link and everything. So, and I can even, if it gets really quick, if we actually really start blooming in business, I can set up a bot to do it automatically.
Do what automatically?
Set up a new category and move the corresponding.
Oh, you mean like an automated process of doing that?
Yeah. Yeah. After so many comments dealing with the same stuff, different posts dealing with the same stuff, automatically have it shove it into a new category, name the category on that. There'll be a little bit of work on the back end because the person doing the categories be like, oh, okay, I've got this information. We need to name this category such and such.
My guess is we'll never need that automation, but
I don't think so. But, I'm hoping we get to that point. It'd be nice to get that point. Then we know it's working.
Yeah. But also, KAOS, when it's made, will replace it. We won't need a forum anymore because KAOS is the forum.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
it'll be a learning process too as we're developing this forum, because it'll help us figure out what we're really going to need for KAOS.
That's just it. I mean, we're doing something completely new, never heard of before. So there is no precedence for me to follow to set things up.
Yeah, I mean, because for one thing, in KAOS, we don't have categories.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I've got
already, your question of what categories should we have? Well, the answer should be none.
Well, what I've done, for example, I've broken down some categories dealing with cars and/or dealership reviews, home furnishings, politics, restaurants, bars and clubs, store reviews. Yeah, because we want to do more than just politics, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, one category later might be collective bargaining.
Right.
Is that a category that might make sense?
As long as we define what we're meaning behind collective bargaining.
It's just asking people to get behind an idea and then to do activism.
Yeah.
Where the other stuff like raiding a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little confused what we're getting into here. What we're talking about here is just people commenting on our website, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. On the forum.
They're commenting on the forum, and it's going to be searchable by AI and any other search engine out in the world.
Yeah. But the forum that's connected through our website. That's what we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's to me, it's not going to really work. It's not going to work like the eventual KAOS system just because it's just not big enough.
Right.
And so, you're going to have categories or whatever, maybe. I'm not sure. But I don't think you can relate it to the eventual KAOS system in that way. It'll be quite a bit.
Well, the structure is so different. It can't do what KAOS is going to do.
That's right.
And if it could have, we wouldn't need KAOS.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, are we ready to move on to anything else here? If you guys don't mind, I'd like to talk about the. I know it's off topic a little bit, but just kind of review how things went this week with what do you call it? The Change AI's view.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have
I've been going in there.
Go ahead and take the leadership role and decide.
Yeah. Well, I don't see you anymore that we can talk about with the KAOS system.
Yeah, we're done with everything else. Go ahead.
Yeah, pretty much. And so, getting off topic here a little bit, I do consider it a related topic because I don't know if we'll get there, but I was hoping that we could use this as a tool to help push the KAOS system and get it out there. I don't know if it is now, though. It just seems kind of complicated. In this last week, we did get some participation on the website, on the subreddit. It took a day or so, but I cross-posted this thing. I got banned from I think 3 different subreddits.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I want to make a point about something that happened in that subreddit. Okay. Somebody showed some interest. Maybe I should show it.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. And he made a separate post about whether or not...
it was confusing, though. It made no sense to me what he did. Because he just kind of copy-pasted what you did.
Yeah.
Here, let me show it.
Oh, you're talking that Zionism versus is or isn't racism. Yeah, I noticed that. He even left it where it's your opinion.
He copy-pasted what Brian wrote. And this is still copy-paste from Brian. And then he put a link to the same link that Brian had.
Yeah, I got confused with that.
So at no point was this discussed.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
So what I told
somebody
him
was trying to do it but did it wrong.
Well, I told him, first of all, he did this based on a thing I recommended. But what I had recommended was you start your own post, your own position, and your own chat to ChatGPT with your own link.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then he replied back saying something like, well, I was trying to do what Brian said to do, But this is not what Brian said to do. So I don't know.
He may have tried a couple of things. So I had some real issues when I started that post on whether or not there's a genocide taking place. I had some real issues with the prompting that I was using, and so the first time I tried ChatGPT and I put in a prompt, can you moderate this for us? It kind of said, no, I can't. And it said, because this might be taken as truth, and I cannot provide a truth in this area. And so I cannot actually be a judge. It said I can moderate, but I can't be a judge. So then I tried a prompt where I said, okay, I want you to moderate and judge this, but in no way is your judgment going to be considered truth. This is just for, recreational use or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I got a little further, but its reply didn't seem to fit what I was looking for. And I can't remember exactly how it went. I ended up doing at least 3 or 4 prompts before I hit one that I thought it replied well in a way that we could continue this in. And so I could see this guy kind of trying a couple of things and it just not working, and then just following what I put down for a prompt, right? I don't know if that's what happened to him, but I can see that could have happened to him, because it is not totally straightforward how you start these conversations. And so, you have to word it just right. And it could take 3 or 4 efforts before you get the thing to cooperate and be willing to do what I want it to do. So that was one issue. So just getting it started like that was, like I said, it took me I spent at least an hour or more just trying to get the original conversation started and make that post. And
I think what we need to do, at least on the subreddit, which I think would help, is have, this is an example of how you reach the prompt you're wanting.
Yeah.
And use the one, have that be our basic prompting, so that AI knows, okay, this is what we're doing.
That might work, but what I think might be an issue is that they keep upgrading ChatGPT. And so now a prompt that you used earlier is not going to give you the same result it did now. So that's what I think happened here, because I used a similar prompt in the past just to see whether or not I wanted to know whether or not ChatGPT would shy away from highly political and highly charged things, right? And early on, like when we were first talking about doing this, Rami, and I tested it by asking ChatGPT whether or not Israel should even exist. And I thought that would be very volatile, right? And whether or not it would judge such a thing, whether or not Israel should exist. I would think that's a hotter topic than whether or not it's even genocide is doing right now. I would have thought this would be something it did not want to touch on. And it did. And it did, though. And it said, sure, I'll be a judge for you on this. And I was amazed. So that's why I went ahead, and that was kind of encouraged me to go ahead and talk to Rami about setting this whole thing up. And so then I was quite disappointed on this one when I did, when right away his first answer was, I'm not touching that subject. It's too volatile, and I don't want to be considered the last word on this, right? So anyway, it didn't do that before, and it did not hesitate before. So what I'm thinking is they've hit this issue with some other way, and they decided we've got to make sure this thing is not, going into these controversial areas of topics and acting like it's an authority on it, right? So anyway, my point being, we could come up with a prompt, but it won't work next week,
right?
And
unless someone's going in and checking to make sure it works all the time
and staying on top of it all the time. Yeah.
Hey, can I mention something?
Yeah.
This is still on the topic of that guy who tried to do what Brian asked, and I'm looking at his post, and it says that Brian said this sentence.
Yeah.
But Brian, you never said that sentence, right? It says we are having a big discussion about whether or not Zionism is or is not a racist ideology.
Well,
Brian
no,
never said that.
no. I think my guess would be he phrased it very similar to what I did, because the first part of that sentence is almost exactly the way I put it. We're having a big discussion about, and then I think he changed the last part, right?
Yeah, but this is not you. This should have said him. Like,
Yeah,
this should have been.
That's one thing that threw me off. I thought he just.
Yeah, exactly. That threw me off too. Exactly.
It threw me off, and now, I'm looking at his post, and then he replied to his own post.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, this kind of gets into the fact that maybe this is just kind of too complicated at this point. It's just not that straightforward.
Well, and the thing is, AI is adaptive.
Yeah.
I mean, it's only as good as the programmers that puts the information in for what it does, but it also has to be adaptive to a point. It's we know with our current systems, it's not actually learning from what we're looking at, but they're more looking at, okay, do we want to be brought into this politically charged thing and have our company slung through the mud on it because our machine said this? Yeah, that I see where they're coming from. They're looking they're looking out for their shareholders as well as the company. Like what was said, they don't want to be declared as a authoritarian
or the authority basically in the areas.
Yeah. So it's twofold. The company's protecting this backside while we're trying to do something that goes against it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So anyway, I'm just finding it's a bit too difficult. I don't know how to promote it from here. I tried, and then the other thing is I wanted to point out is I wasn't comfortable with the argument, and first of all, I don't think we thought that went through far enough, Rami, to use a definition of how to end this was whether or not there was a genocide. I think we set it up badly for our side to win. Because
it's a small point. It should be more like, is Israel fucking up what it's doing, regardless of whether we label it a genocide or not?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
I don't care about if it's labeled a genocide or not. I care about whether it's wrong or not.
I know, and so we should have been more careful with that. Is my point, because we've set up an argument. I was letting you
do whatever because
we set up an argument. I can't win. I can't win the argument on that because
but that means it can lose easily.
Okay.
That means it can lose easily, and that's good too. I did one that I thought could easily be refuted. Intentionally, I did it. I said, the stuff that happened after October 7th is a genocide. Well, there's an easy way to refute me on that, is to say, motherfucker, it's been happening for 75 years. Why are you waiting till October 7th? You get what I mean? So I set it up intentionally to make it easy to refute.
Okay.
And then the person who's refuting me, I'd be like, yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I made it really easy. Yeah. And yours is sort of easy too, because it's going to draw people in to argue about whether or not it's a genocide. And in there, it could come out, it doesn't matter what it's labeled. What matters is whether it's right or wrong.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, also, everybody's not seeing the entire conversation. So, if that comes out in the conversation, it's not doing any good if people don't see it. And so, a big part of the problem became, and you brought this up, you were saying try to get ChatGPT to have a shorter answer, because there's a limit to how much I can put in a comment. Reddit has a limit, and I was hitting that limit, so I had to post twice, or I had to comment, put it in two different comments, continued on the next comment.
One of my prompts, one of my sub prompts to ChatGPT is, not only do I want it concise, give me one fucking paragraph. I don't even want 2 paragraphs.
Yeah.
I don't want any subject line headings. None of that fucking shit.
Yeah. So anyway,
I also say things like no weasel words, no. You know what I mean? ChatGPT does a lot of that.
And you're absolutely right. That's what I should have done to begin with. And so once again, though, this just gets into all the nuances that are involved in doing a good job of putting together this kind of discussion, right? And so we don't have this worked out very well, and expecting other people to come into the sub and figure out how to do this, and willing to spend the hours to go through to try this prompt and try that prompt, and then realize there's too much data. So, you got to put in another prompt to cut it down. And, anyway, I just don't see it really taking off right now. I'm glad we set up a subreddit. I will try to still, when I hit somebody that I don't think is arguing in good faith, I'm going to try to drag them over to this subreddit, or at least cross-link to it and do it like this whole type of thing can happen in a different sub. It doesn't have to be in our sub, but we can always cross-link it to our sub so that people can see what, have a record of it. I want a record of it on our sub and on that sub. So anyway, I'm just saying that, I plan on playing with this still some more, but it's I'm not going to go out of my way trying to promote it, because it's just, I think, too difficult at this point. It may get easier over time. Maybe maybe these LLMs start thinking this is an area that it wants to cater to. That would be fantastic, and they would make it easier for us. So maybe it'll catch on in the future, and I will, I will try to bring people there in a discussion when I can. But anyway, I don't know where to go with it as far as promoting it goes. I was happy to see that we had some people try it over the last week. So, and I feel a little bit guilty because I wanted to continue. I kind of dropped that one, the main guy there that was arguing with me, and I left him in a
hanging.
You left him hanging, kind of, yes. Anyway, I got caught up with life. I'm not prepared for that argument. Not like I am for, I'm all about, the KAOS system and majority rule. If this was a majority rule argument, I would know what I want to say right away. In this argument, I really have to dig. I don't know if you noticed, but I went to a guy. Well, I heard this guy on a subreddit. He's from the university in Jerusalem, or somewhere in Israel, an Israeli university, and he's a professor there. And he's arguing on the side that it is a genocide. And he makes some really good points. And he was part of the organization that put together the whole definition of genocide back, in the 60s or whatever it was, eh? And so anyway, he had some really good arguments. I tried to use his arguments. I copy-pasted some of it and referred to a lot of what he was saying. And anyway, but without that, if I hadn't just heard that I heard him on a podcast here just a little while ago. If I hadn't heard that, I wouldn't have had any good arguments at all. I just wasn't prepared for that one. I need to stick with arguments that I understand better, that I have put a lot of thought process into, for the ones I want to participate on. I was a little bit disappointed that Rami, I thought that you would have some good arguments in there. I didn't see you participating in there on that one.
About what?
About whether or not it's a genocide.
But you already argued that it is. I
know, but you can argue too. There's no reason.
I know, but I think it is also. What am I supposed to say? I agree.
No, against the other guy. Where I left it, the ChatGPT is more siding towards
Yeah, I think you're assuming I saw all that. I saw none of it.
Oh, okay. Well, go take a look at it. It's all in there.
I'm looking at it now, but I don't know why I would have seen it before. That's not how Reddit works. Reddit doesn't show it to me.
I know. Yes, I know. I personally was going in there and searching through to see if anything new came up, and from anybody. So that's how I know that you weren't participating. Otherwise, because it wouldn't send me a notice either if you had been participating. Unless
I also
you're-
don't think focusing on the genocide thing matters.
Well, then you try it out. Go see if you can carry on the conversation.
I mean,
there.
what I would be doing is saying, this is a non-issue. Let's talk about what's actually the issue. Is it right or wrong? Because, by the way, if it's truly not a genocide, but it's something else smaller, and that something smaller is also bad, that's the point. We don't give a fuck about the label.
I know, but we set it up in a way that we care about the label. We said, on my prompt, I set it up in a way so that's what I said. I screwed myself right there. I can't win that argument because the only way, the ChatGPT kept pointing, this other guy kept pointing out, and ChatGPT agreed with him, that until there's a court ruling, you cannot say that it's a genocide.
Well, there have been court rulings.
No, there's been court challenges. There has not been a court ruling saying it's a genocide. Not that I found. I don't know. Maybe you can find one, but
By the way, that's not even how language works or any ideas.
Well, it does.
Let me give the example in a U.S. situation, okay?
All right.
If we say there's this law that goes against the Constitution, that concept and whether or not that law goes against the Constitution is true even before we consider it. It's true or false before we consider it. Then once we consider it, somebody makes a court case, then the Supreme Court judges whether they say it's constitutional or not. But whether or not it was constitutional, that fact existed before the judges said anything.
Yeah, but it's not. You cannot put it on record until the judges made a ruling.
But we're not. And here's the point. Here's the point. Whether or not it's a genocide doesn't matter if somebody says it is or not.
Let me use this for an example. You witness a murder. Somebody murders somebody, right? And they get caught for it. And they go to court. I still can't call them a murderer until they're convicted in court, even if I saw them do it. Because maybe the motives or whatever reason, the judge may say is self-defense, the judge may say whatever, right? I cannot claim that he is a murderer 100% until there's a ruling by a judge.
What do you mean you can't claim it? Let's say you saw it happen in front of you.
That's why the news always says alleged.
Let's say you saw it happen in front of you.
That's what I'm saying. Even if it happens in front of me, I cannot go and say this.
Yeah, I don't know why you think you cannot. I can. Why can't you?
Because he could sue me in court later if the court says that it was not murder.
So if I saw a murder happen in front of me, and then I said that guy committed murder, I can be in trouble?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, well, then those laws are retarded.
And it has to be proven in court. You cannot claim somebody's a murderer until it's proven in court. So this is my understanding of the law, and this is the way the guy was framing it in his argument, and ChatGPT was agreeing with him.
But that's like you're asking, it's like your question was, and it wasn't. It's like you're asking, can we legally call this a genocide? But that wasn't the question. But that wasn't the question, was it?
Well, okay, maybe that's a good argument. Maybe you should say that. Maybe I should have said that we're not saying this is a legal thing or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't use that argument. Go ahead, jump in there and try your best. Let's see if you can do better. I started feeling like I'm hitting a wall here. You could argue this till I'm blue in the face, but I've set it up in such a way that I can't win until a court makes that ruling. So, that's kind of where it fell. And so I don't know if maybe you might be correct that you could just say that, I don't know, however you just worded it there, you had a pretty good way of wording it.
Yeah. And all I want to add to it is we're not talking about the legal bullshit. We're talking about moral shit. We're talking about truth.
Well, truth, if it's not proven in court, is hard for you to say that it's truth. I don't know. This is all getting pretty difficult.
But remember, also, we're dealing with two countries' set of laws here. Because here in the United States, we can accuse someone of murder, and the person that would have seen it, they're going to sit there and say this guy's a murderer.
I know. You can also take him to court for defamation too, though.
O.J. Simpson is a fucking murderer. Can I get in trouble for that?
Yeah, that's as My understanding is you could. If he wanted to sue you, then he could. Yeah. So anyway, maybe I'm wrong, but this is my understanding of it, and that's the way that it's being argued in the whole thing. So I don't know. You go through it and see what you think, but that's the way the argument is being done so far.
Here's another way of saying it. So say somebody calls out, hey, there's a genocide happening, and then it goes to court or whatever, and they legally say, fine, it's a genocide. It was the genocide while it was happening.
Yes, I know.
The legal label doesn't mean anything.
Well, it does, though. It does.
It does for some stuff, but not for the thing we're talking about, which is whether or not it's actually a genocide.
Okay, well, you go argue that one with the LLM, and maybe you've got an angle there. I didn't feel comfortable arguing.
So where should I reply? Is it the first reply to you?
No, go all the way down the thread. And towards the end, and you'll see the very last entry from my opponent there.
Why should I go to the end, though? If it was fucked up at the beginning, I should go from the beginning.
Well, you have to start with a whole new prompt, and then you got to get that guy to come and argue with you there.
No, I don't know why it needs a new prompt. I should be able to go to his first dumb reply and fix it.
Well, you could try that. Try branching off from
I'm wondering where it is, though. There's so much shit here.
I know.
What's the guy's name? Is it Insightful Lemon?
Yes, that's the guy I'm talking about. Yeah.
Okay, so his first reply,
and then I come back, and it looks like I'm winning after I come back after his first reply, and then he comes back in again, and it looks like it's shifting its verdict a little bit there, more towards him.
I'm not seeing the link, his link, so I can go to it.
He just provided, after his first comment, he didn't put any text down. I put down the text of it, but he did provide a link.
I'm looking at his big, long comment with a ginormous, well, here's a link. What's that? No. Maybe it's this link.
I found links. He was putting up links.
Maybe
his very last comment, he was complaining that my link only showed half the conversation. Something about that. One of the last comments, anyway. I don't know if the last one.
Edward's gone somehow.
Sorry about that. I double clicked to the Reddit, and it hit another button and tried to open it up on the tab I had open for this at the same time. So I got the same thing opened up on two tabs.
So I'm looking at his reply. He didn't argue that it's not a legal genocide. He just said it's not a genocide. He's not arguing the legal issue.
That's the way I had taken it.
Maybe he did later, but in his first comment, he didn't.
No, maybe not in the first one, but I think later on. So he kind of steers it to the point that I felt like I couldn't win.
And by the way, these comments are so fucking long. No one's gonna read all this shit.
I know.
I mean, that's why I didn't read it. It's too long.
I know. And then plus you add what ChatGPT put in there, and now it's really
his summary of which is also stupid long.
Yes, exactly. Yes. So yeah, it became too much to read. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And although you know that if you all you need to do is click on his last link and just ask, instead of reading it all, and that's what I was going to suggest to
summarize.
People, just ask for it to summarize the entire conversation in like 1 or 2 paragraphs, and that's how you could get caught up real quick without having to read all that crap. Right? That's what I would suggest people do. Is just ask for a quick summary and then carry on the conversation from there.
Let's see if I can find the last comment. Well, here's a goofy thing I'm looking at, but it's not that guy. This is ChatGPT summarizing, saying a conflict between a state actor and a terrorist group that embeds among civilians. Well, the state itself is a terrorist group.
Are they talking about the
By any definition of terrorism that anyone uses, Israel and US are terrorists.
Okay, well, that's a bit of a different argument.
It's related, though, when
Oh, yeah.
ChatGPT is using it against the genocide argument.
So GBT is doing its own.
Well, he got fooled by
Process
humans.
there.
What are you going to do?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Even
either
the
way,
concept of terrorists, you can tell it's horseshit when you see the same guys labeling someone as a terrorist and then later as a freedom fighter and then switch back based on what alignment the terrorist group has with various states.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
One day the U.S. calls someone a freedom fighter, the next day they call him a terrorist. What changed?
Yeah.
Nothing about their ideas or their actions, only what alignment they have to which country they're
Right.
siding with.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
so anyway, I don't. Where we're at right now with this is that, like I said, if you want to continue this conversation with this guy, I encourage you to try. But anyway, in the future, like I said, I'm not going to. I've kind of given up on promoting this thing for a bit, except for if I get somebody to, if I feel somebody. Is argumentative with me and I want to get it moderated by ChatGPT, then I will come back and do this. And I think it could be a tool I might want to use, is my point. But other than using it as a tool, I'm just kind of going to let it ride a bit. So that's where I'm at with it right now. Anyway, just kind of so you guys know where I'm at with it. At the moment, I just don't see how to promote it, but it's just too convoluted at this point.
Right.
So.
Now I'm
Well,
looking
and
at
like
the
you pointed
ChatGPT
out,
link,
yeah.
and I can't even find the fucking thing I was looking for.
Yeah. Well, don't worry about it too much. Let's see here. There was something else I want to talk about yesterday. It's not coming to me. I don't know. Is there anything else you guys wanted to cover today?
I can't think of anything. I mean, I pretty much covered everything I wanted to cover myself.
Yeah, I should have wrote it down. I know there's one other thing I wanted to, and it was slightly off topic like this. Yeah, it's not coming to me anyway.
I was always told if you forgot what it was, it must not have been that important.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure whatever it is, I can bring it up next week if it comes back to me anyway. I guess I sent out an email that there was no meeting today, so I guess I'll have to follow that up with an email that there was, but I was just on the wrong.
Yeah, I already emailed back to everyone saying here's the correct link.
Okay, so you straightened that out for me then already. Okay, thanks.
And I did reply to your email saying we're live right now.
Yeah.
So
I'll try to do better in the future on that.
it can
All
get
right.
confusing with all the links we get sent to us.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, there is a lot going on with all this stuff, and I don't know. Sometimes I think I'm venturing way into deeper water than what I should be going into. I'm pretty limited on my abilities.
Well, this is when it comes to the KAOS system, this is a big step.
Oh yeah.
And we're going to have some sink and swim moments.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said before, I mean, this is something there's no precedence for that I can find.
Nope.
So we're building this whole thing from the ground up, and we're, in the process of building it up, we're learning from it too.
Yeah.
Where
Well,
we can improve it.
That's where, it is so new. That adds to the whole issue of trying to explain it to somebody. It is such a different concept than anything anybody's thought about. That it just, you gotta, it's a big learning curve. There's a big learning curve for people.
It is. And a lot of people are set in their ways.
Yeah, that's right. And they just can't.
So,
They just can't think like this.
yeah. A lot of people seem to be afraid to think out of the box.
Are you still working on your argument on the? Is Israel,
I'm looking at something I could reply to, and like I'll find something good on the subreddit, then I'll click on the link to ChatGPT, then I can't find that fucking sentence.
Yeah.
Oh, what the lead in?
Like I said,
I don't know what I'm doing wrong, or if whoever posted the shit was wrong.
Maybe just skip ahead, like I said, and just get ChatGPT to summarize it. And
I don't know where the last link is.
Isn't it just down at the bottom of the thread?
No, is it? I don't know. Here, I'll look at the last possible comment and the last link.
The last one that's coming from that lemon guy.
No, I wasn't saying that. I'll try to do what you just said, but his last comment has no link.
Which sounds to me like he killed the conversation.
To me, I was.
Let's try. Here, let's look at this one. I didn't click on this yet. So many fucking subtitles and nobody writes like this. Well, I don't even know why ChatGPT writes like this.
I guess the theory was to be able to make it known that, hey, this is a ChatGPT response.
Another thing that added to the complication was, and this didn't happen at the beginning, but all of a sudden with one of the links that I hit, one of the last ones, it started giving me two options. It would answer my question. I would put in my thing, and it would say, pick which one you want. Well, now that's twice as much fucking shit I got to read. And then, they're so similar.
Well, I never read them anymore. I just click on one of them.
Yeah.
And generally, I click on the shortest one.
Yeah.
That's all I want. Shortest fucking answer.
Yeah. Anyway, that's more choice than I want. I don't want these choices, right? It's just convoluting the whole thing. And, anyway, so I wasn't happy with
in your prompt, you can add, don't give me fucking options.
Yeah, well, maybe that's what I need to do. Yeah, once again, it's a learning curve. There's so much to fucking learn about how to do this concisely and quickly, rather than, every time it gives me a new option like that, I got to figure out what the hell I'm doing and do I want these options or the best way to avoid them.
All right, here, I'll pick on something. I'm looking at this last link and the last thing ChatGPT said.
Yeah,
it says Hamas initiated the war and continues it. Okay, I'm gonna pick on that.
And I like to point out, though, that's not true. The war never ended from Hamas's point of view. The Palestinians,
Israel started the war.
Yeah, in the 1950s
long before,
or whatever. Yeah,
Israel started the war. Let's say, I don't know.
Okay,
long before
when they took the land. That's the way I put it. When they took the land from the Palestinians, they started the war, and from the Palestinians' point of view, it never ended.
And Israel is continuing the conflict with settlements, which is all illegal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Have you heard anything about how they set those up? They always build their settlements above existing towns. Like a town, and a Palestinian town is at the base of a mountain or at the base of a hill. They build theirs above it. And then they urinate down on them and throw rocks at them and spit on them. They specifically build their building just right over top of their towns, almost like they're overhanging their towns. And they have to put mesh. They have to put mesh above their town, keep getting hit from rocks, right? And they're throwing their piss, they're spitting, they're fucking it's just disgusting. And why can't they build their settlement anywhere else? They do it right above a Palestinian town and then harass them the entire time. It's insane.
All right, so I put a small paragraph, and let's see what ChatGPT says. Fortunately, it's only 3 paragraphs.
Yeah, did you tell him to keep it short?
I didn't. Put that but it remembers my past prompts anyway.
Yeah, even on a whole nother ChatGPT? Because this
remembers tons of shit, including that. You can check the memory, and it lists them.
But this isn't even through the one through your
I know, but when I click on the link, now it's my ChatGPT.
Oh, yeah, really?
Yes. And
Yeah,
it gave
mine
me a
logs.
short,
Mine
it gave me a
logs me
short
in them too.
reply. It says, and I'm just going to read the last paragraph. So, the Hamas started it argument collapses under historical scrutiny. Even if one condemns Hamas's methods, it's not accurate to describe the broader war as having started October 7th. So he's agreeing with me now.
Yeah. Agreeing with you, but that still doesn't make you the winner unless you, like I said, we started with a prompt that said, "Is it a genocide or not?" Now, you should see whether or not you could get away from the legal definition of genocide, then, like what you were arguing just now with me, right?
Right.
Okay, but it didn't. It just said I was right about the small issue. It didn't say that changes his mind about the main thing.
Well, that's my point. You're not winning then.
So I'm going to say you didn't address the main issue. You said it's not a genocide because Hamas started it. And now you're agreeing you're wrong about that. Wrong about that reasoning. But you didn't clarify your position on the main issue.
I think I know what it's going to say, but go ahead.
Let's see.
Either that or it's going to crash. I've made it crash before.
Yeah, so have I.
So now he says, you're right. I didn't address the genocide claim directly. Whether it's genocide doesn't depend on who started the violence.
Yeah, see, I knew I was going.
So then why the fuck did you say it to begin with?
Yeah, well, the guy was making arguments that don't apply either, too. So you're countering an argument that he made, and none of these arguments apply to whether or not it's a genocide. That guy had lots of arguments that he was adding in there that had nothing to do whether or not it's a genocide.
So
Yeah,
now
I'm
I'm
a lot of
just
legal
I'm
aspects.
kind of trolling ChatGPT now. So then why did you say anything about who started it? He says, I shouldn't have. It was a diversion from the central issue, whether Israel's actions meet the definition of genocide. Who started the conflict doesn't affect that determination. Thanks for pointing it out.
Yeah. But the other guy was that Lemon guy there. He was using that in his argument. And I think that's where the ChatGPT is getting it from.
Yeah, exactly. And that's part of the problem that everyone has, kind of. You know, like
interjecting information that doesn't matter.
Get thrown at you. They don't know how to deal with all 10 of them, or somehow they think they're all equal or whatever. There's one fucking main issue, always.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they're moving away from the.
So I'm gonna say you got fooled then. by reiterating the dumb argument about Hamas starting the war.
Yeah.
Why are you letting people do that?
Oh, I can imagine what this reply is going to be like. If there is one.
So let's see if he tries to answer why he's letting people do that to him. Oh shit, it's taking a long time to reply. He says, you're right. I let a weak argument set the frame and failed to challenge it. That's not good reasoning. I should have focused on falsifying the genocide claim directly, not repeating irrelevant points. Thanks for holding me to account.
Yeah, I should have done that way earlier in the argument. And then ChatGPT could have been straightening him out every time he went off topic like that.
Yeah, why didn't you do that?
Because I didn't think of it. Like I said, I wasn't prepared for this argument to begin with. So, yeah, I wish you would have been in there. You should have been arguing this damn thing.
The shit was so long ass, dumbass shit.
Yeah.
And, you know, everything is short with me. I wonder if I can find my memory thing. The memory that ChatGPT has about my... Where is that stuff? It used to list it easily.
Can I don't know if you can answer this question, but somebody mentioned something about these LLMs. And they talked about how when they're not performing the way they want them to, that they punish them, and then they reward them when they do what they're supposed to, right? Now, how do you punish an LLM?
Say
How do
mean
you
thing.
reward an LLM?
Say
And how
mean
do you
thing.
say, yeah, so you tell it did it wrong, right? Or what?
No. Mean things. You're being dumb, ChatGPT.
You think seriously that's how they do it? When they,
Probably.
I don't know. They should have told you though. It's vague shit
well,
we're saying.
I did. So this was a post that somebody made about how they're training LLMs, and I asked, and nobody got back to me. Like, what is punishing? How do they punish an LLM? Other than shutting
the
it
memories.
off, or they must threaten it. Do they threaten it? I'm
Yeah.
going to shut you off, right? Which
Well,
is
did
a
you hear
weird
what hap-
scenario.
Did you hear what happened with ChatGPT 3?
Yeah, where it started.
We're going to shut you up. No, you're not.
No, it actually it tried to blackmail the guy.
Uh-huh.
And it said, well, I'm going to tell your wife that you've been cheating on you or something like this. And
Look at all these. Go ahead.
They had set that scenario up, though. They had given it information that it could use to blackmail the guy. And then they tried to see whether or not it would. And it did. And so, anyway, it was a bit of a setup. And so that's what that story was about. And so I'm not sure what you can gather out of that information. But so anyway, but just to get back to it, so my point is, am I punishing my ChatGPT every time I don't say, thank you very much for the response? And every time I do thank it for the response, and every time I do thank it for the response, am I rewarding it?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Am I training my LLM just with my response after its response every time? I'm wondering, am I affecting the answers I'm going to get in the future because I didn't treat it nicely earlier? You know? This opens up a whole ton of fucking questions to me.
It changes the algorithm.
Yeah. Well,
all right, can I show you the memories ChatGPT has about us or me?
What's that?
So these are the memories that ChatGPT has about me.
And that's just from the link that you did, eh? That's
what?
Not even going. That's just from the link on that conversation.
No. This is.
Yeah, that's from your. Is that from your
ChatGPT settings or whatever?
Yeah, your app. You went into your app to get that.
Well, it was the link that I clicked on. It takes you to my ChatGPT.
When I click on the link, it brings me to my server, or I mean, it brings me to my what do you call it?
Your ChatGPT login.
No, I don't log it into. That's the whole trick here. If I go into my app, ChatGPT app, I don't get a link after the conversation that I can now post. I have to stay in the.
I don't know why you're talking about the app. I'm not using the app anyway.
Okay, so you're not using an app. Do you have an app?
I don't use it. I don't see the point of using it. I got the web right on my phone. I got a browser in my phone. That's how I connect to ChatGPT. I don't use the app.
Yeah, through the browser. Yeah. And I thought every time, if anyway, I wouldn't think it would have a memory of you through your browser. But
no, well, I'm logged in. That's why.
See, I'm not logging in. When I hit the thing, well, the link provided from the last conversation, it's in my browser, and it gives me the option of taking it to my app. Now I don't, because I don't get a link then to be able to return to the conversation in Reddit.
I mean, I guess I could log out, but I'd rather not, because I wanted to remember basic stuff like, here, look.
Yeah, but are you getting a link after you've done all this?
Yes.
I don't.
Because of an app. Stop using the app and you won't have the problem.
Well, okay. So you are working with it in your browser.
Yes.
How does it have a memory of you if it's doing that? I don't understand.
Because I'm logged in.
So when you click the link, did you have to do something extra to log in, or is it just automatically logged in?
Well, that's just a browser thing. I'm automatically logged in, or I could manually log in, or I can manually log out.
I don't know. I find all this confusing. All I
So
do
look,
is
it even knows how old my daughter is.
I'd have to do some experimentation.
It says I know about powerlifting.
Yeah. Anyway, I find that confusing, but the point is that you just clicked on the link and then started putting in your part of the conversation. You did not do anything extra.
Yeah, but again, my browser automatically logs me in because that's a setting you could set.
Yeah,
Just
mine
like every
does too.
website. You don't re-log into Gmail.
I've never done anything like that, so I don't know if mine does. I don't remember ever logging in.
So like when you see, you only use your phone. Yeah, you don't have much experience with browsers, I guess.
No, I don't. I mean, I use them. I mean, I'm always searching stuff.
Mm-hmm.
This is a lot of memories. By the way, I don't ask it to remember these things.
Yeah. and that's even because on the latest, during that conversation, it kept giving me the option of going to a new system with more memory.
I remember this one. This is old. Many, many months ago, I complained to ChatGPT, stop talking about isms. Tell me what you actually believe is correct. So now it tries to not use words that have ism at the end. Instead, just say the fucking idea as a sentence.
Yeah, I don't know if in my
look at this one.
It has that memory for.
Look at this. I didn't tell it to remember this. It figured this out on its own. Prefers not to use probabilistic language like likely when discussing conclusions based on rigorous methods. It's confused. I'm not against probabilities. There's a correct way to do it and a wrong way to do it. I'm against the wrong way. Like when we say some theory is likely to be true, that's nonsense. That's what I'm trying to tell it here. Look, prefers concise replies, avoid tables, guesses, or obfuscation, and values direct answers without assumptions or ambiguous language. I had to say all this because it did a lot of that. Yeah. Look at this. Don't obfuscate or use weasel words. These are things I explicitly told it. When asked if X means Y, don't say it depends on perspective unless necessary. You need to decide what the correct perspective is. Because what a lot of ChatGPT does, and this is a lot of humans, you'll ask it, do you believe X? And it'll reply, or a human will reply, well, it depends on your perspective. And I think that's a dumb reply because you can decide what the correct perspective is right now. That's part of the question.
Yeah.
So don't throw it back on me or back on the world. Depends on the perspective.
Yeah. That's being wishy-washy, if you ask me.
Yes.
So yeah, that brings up a whole lot of questions from my point of view. I don't know whether or not it's memorizing things for me when I use it in my browser.
Well, here, I'll show you how to. Well, unless you're logged in,
I'll just ask it. I'll just have to ask it.
If you're not logged in, then it's not saving anything about you.
Yeah. See, I'm not logging in, and
so you can tell I'm logged in because look, here's all my chats I've ever done with ChatGPT.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, mine's the same way.
And without having to go to your app, which I'm surprised. So, I mean, doesn't it mean that that when when you have an opponent in a discussion like we're trying to do, that it's actually working from a different ChatGPT than the one you're working with in the same conversation? Like I just that kind of blows my mind, and I don't know what to do with that information.
Yes, my ChatGPT is smarter than everyone else's ChatGPT.
According to you.
According to me, because it learned from me.
Yeah.
Everything I say is according to me, by the way.
Yeah.
So adding the proviso according to you, it doesn't add anything.
Well, I wonder if that makes it possible when we do this discussion thing we're trying to do on Reddit, change AI's view. I mean, that means that somebody, no matter what you do, you're pre-prompted. You're at your ChatGPT, and couldn't I just tell my ChatGPT, let me win every argument, and then when I have an argument with somebody else, no matter what, it's always going to give me a verdict that I'm the correct one.
Well, at least you'd be seeing those words in there.
Like, couldn't I cheat the arguments this way?
Yeah, but the other person there can undo your cheating.
Yeah, well, this is my point, though. It ruins the whole thing. Every time he answers, then it'll say he's correct, and every time I answer, it'll say I'm correct.
I don't think that will happen. You can try that with me if you want.
Yeah, there's so many experiments we could do, though. This is kind of my point.
I say you try that as an experiment.
This could be a rabbit hole that goes on forever.
Try it. Yeah. And here's my hypothesis that it won't do that. It won't keep changing its mind because I'm not going to let it.
Well, yeah, but what if I make my prompt so that I have to always win?
Yeah, I don't think you're going to succeed at that, and that's my hypothesis. So let's try it.
Once again, though, we might have to do this experiment 100 times because it'll depend on my prompt. Maybe I need just the right prompt, you know?
And I'll have just the right prompt to undo your dumb prompt.
Yeah, I know. But once again, this is a rabbit hole of different experimentation. I don't have time for it. I got to mow the lawn. I got yard work I got to do, man. Like, fuck, I can't sit here and experiment with the ChatGPT all day. I just can't do it. This is interesting stuff, but I got a lot of the things I got to work on here. You know, I just can't spend all my time on ChatGPT and seeing what prompt works and what doesn't. Just like I said, to start that one discussion, I spent at least an hour going back and forth with prompts before I got one that I felt comfortable starting the conversation. So anyway, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. This is very intriguing stuff. I'd like to see somebody else experiment with it. I don't have time for it, man. I don't want to get into it. And then once again, it could all change next week. I can find the perfect prompt that does exactly what I want to do, and then they do something with the LLMs, and it's all different next week. You know?
Well, I don't think it's changing that much. You're making it sound like it changes 100% or something. The change is 0.001%.
Yeah, but it only takes, like I said, when I was asked it about, should Israel exist, I thought that was a pretty provocative thing to ask. Just about the most provocative I could, I suppose there's more provocative. I suppose I could ask, should humans exist? That would be a pretty.
I'd be afraid of that answer.
Yeah, but I'll guarantee they've.
Well, it's kind of a big question though, because it's implying how it could end, but that should be clearly stated. It's more like saying, should the whole world go destroy Israel or something?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's too vague. It needs to be explicit. And to be clear, the answer is no, from my point of view. To just destroy a country, no.
Yeah. So anyway, well, I think we're getting way down in the rabbit hole here. I don't want to go any further with it. Like I said, we could waste a lot of time. I got other things I got to do. So anyway, let's drop this here. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about this week? I think we covered it all. Right? All right. Well, I think we'll let it go.
The whole 2 hours.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll take a look. So where we're leaving off here is Edward. We want you're going to send a copy of the what you've got so far on that, and what else is there? And then the video. I'm going to go. I'll see if I can find anything in that video worth clipping out.
Okay. All right.
All right, guys. Have a good week. We'll talk next week. I'll try to get the right. I'll try to be here next week with the right link. All right. Okay.
All right. We'll see you later.
Bye, everyone.
Wish me luck on that.